Hello, everyone. I hope you all are safe and healthy. So, today is our first session on Sterling. As I mentioned in our last video, I did not wanted to spend more time on EDI basics because more or less you all are working on EDI technology. So, you would be at least aware of the EDI basics. I wanted to quickly move on to the actual product trainings, and that is why I just had an introduction on EDI and followed by the Sterling integrator part, right? So today we are going to cover two very important topics of Sterling integrator. The first one is a quick introduction of Sterling B2B Integrator for people who have just heard about the product name, right? For the beginners, and then followed by the installation part, right? I would take another maybe couple of sessions to complete the installation part. Why I wanted to start with installation? There is a big reason behind that, right? During my last like 14 years of experience, I have seen that people, okay, who are working in this product for almost 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, when I ask them about mapping or maybe business process, more or less they are kind of aware of those things, right? But when I say, have you installed Sterling integrator? Do you know how it is installed? Do you know the infrastructure at the backend? Most of the cases I have heard that no, they are not aware of it. When they started the project, it's already installed. It is managed by someone else, okay, some kind of administrator, and they are not aware of the nitty-gritty of how you install the product. But I thought when I will start this kind of sessions, right, I would want all of you to understand how the product is being installed at the very beginning rather than implementation part using the application, right? Like say for an example, right, you want to use an application and you definitely would want to know how it is installed first rather than actually starting to use the application. Because I have seen, if you know how to install, if you know what are the components, right, which are talking to each other to make this application work, there are a lot of troubleshooting, okay, that you might get in your project where that knowledge would actually help you, right? So that is why the installation is what I want to cover in the beginning of the sessions. So coming to Sterling B2B Integrator, this is one of the most widely used end-to-end B2B integration gateway among the Fortune 500 companies. This was actually developed by a company named Sterling Commerce, later acquired by HP. It was called Gentran Integration Suite during that time, 10 years back. After that, it has went through a lot of evolution, and then later IBM acquired it from HP, and now it is being renamed as IBM B2BI or IBM B2B Integrator, right? So this particular middleware product, right, it has lot of interesting features in a under a single umbrella, right? When I say lot of features, it is 24 by 7, 365 days up and running. It can be installed on a non-clustered environment, or it can be installed on clustered environment, active installations, and sharing the entire load, right? It is also easily, you can connect the partners using all types of protocols as such that are available in the market very easily. It has a business process management module where it has a graphical interface called graphical process modeler. Is basically there is a palette and there are like services and adapters available as an icon. You can drag and drop, connect them, and create end-to-end workflows which you basically then deploy into the product for the end-to-end process orchestration. Down the line, when you get more habituated using graphical process modeler and in the BPML code, the business process modeling language code is basically based on XML. So when you get more familiarized, you don't need graphical process modeler as such to do your business process design. You can also directly edit the code, the BPML code, or you can even use a text pad and create your own code by writing those lines in BPML, right? And in respect to security, it has a lot of features available, right? Like starting with perimeter server, which gives you a proxy server on top of Sterling integrator. You can have also Sterling secure proxy, which gives you reverse proxy option. It can be configured with Sterling external authentication server or SEAS, right? In addition to that, you can have set up like data encryption at rest or at transit, right? And there are like you can apply PGP encryptions. So it has a lot of security features as well, right? And in respect to the storage, there is an integrated virtual file system within the product, which comes by default, which is called Mailbox. In our terms, you can also configure file system like NAS location or network file system, where you can use file system as the data storage as well instead of Mailbox, right? But there are a lot of features, okay, that you get out of Mailbox. Also, we will talk about those details. Like I'm just touching those few components on a very high level, but don't worry. Down the lane, okay, when we go into this kind of like specific topics, we will discuss more about things and we will do hands-on. We will try to explore the product. And then I'll show you what you can do within the product, right? And it has a robust partner management module where you can manage all your AS2 partners, SFTP partners, their profiles, their certificates, and their relationships. So you can do a lot of trading partner onboarding related configuration using the partner management module. You can create maps, any-to-any maps using the translation component, which is nothing but the Sterling map editor, where you can write your maps and then test it and then deploy it within the product. And you will be using the business process translation service, where you are basically invoking the map and sending an input format and translating it into the output format, right, within the workflow. So you can do those kind of stuffs using the Sterling map editor module, right? In respect to services and adapters, services are nothing but the actual work that is being done on the data on runtime. And it's a small piece of work, okay, that you basically want to do on the data, right? And the adapters, okay, are basically components, okay, which are used for connecting to external systems, right? Let's say SFTP begin session, SFTP CD service, SFTP list service, move, copy, right, and end session. So I'm just giving an example. You have SAP system, you want to connect with SAP, you have SAP specific adapters, right? So there are different third-party systems available that you can connect with using these adapters, right? So based on your requirement, based on your design, you can use these adapters in your business process to create the workflow, right? Now moving on, this is just the same thing that I just discussed in more detail. So you can go through them, like as I mentioned, like process automation, you have data transformation module, trading partner onboarding module, communications, you can set up any protocols as such, and the security part of it. So I already have discussed those things, right, on a high level. Moving forward, the main topic that I wanted to cover is the installation part, right? I will at the end of this session, right, I will show you one installation that I have done on a Windows box. It's a like non-clustered installation, one node installation that I have done. But before that, right, I wanted to tell you that while installation of Sterling Integrator, right, the installation, you need to ensure there are some prerequisites, okay, that you need to check. You need to ensure that they are correct. You need to validate them, and then once the prerequisites are kind of checked, okay, the next big thing, right, is the installation and the configuration of the database, right? Because Sterling Integrator, okay, is a database driven application. So most of the configuration is basically either stored in the installation folder, right? And the rest of the configuration are stored in the database specific tables, right? Along with the transaction tables, there are configuration tables which gets created when you install the product. So there are two places that these configurations are stored. So database is very important. Most of the cases we have seen that the issue that happen is basically your database is responding slowly, or maybe your database is growing and then it's basically there is no space available, right? Those kind of scenarios we have seen, like P1, P2 kind of tickets we have seen in those scenarios, right? When it comes to Sterling Integrator production support. So as I mentioned, right, the verification part, basically there like you need to check whether the hardware and the software minimum system requirements are met, right, before you even start installation. So there is something called, if you search in Google, right, there is a specific link, okay, or resource available in Google. You can search with the, like I've mentioned here, IBM software compatibility matrix, right? If you type that and if you click on that, it will basically take you to IBM provided link where you can select or type in, okay, in the box which product you want to search the software compatibility matrix. You type Sterling B2B Integrator, and then it will help you, like by giving you a drop down option of which particular version of Sterling Integrator you are looking for the system requirements. If you select the correct version, it will give you the whole list of the minimum system requirements in respect to hardware and software. Like when I say hardware, like the operating system, and then the disk space, right? Those kind of things that you need to ensure that they are correct, right? Because your installation will fail, okay, if you don't do this prerequisite check and they are not satisfying, right? And then the rest of the software requirements, like you need to have a proper JDK version, whether it's 1.7 or 1.8. Okay, you need to see the particular versioning and make sure that that particular JDK version is installed on that particular box, right? There's a minimum disk space that you need to have, okay, for installation, but you need to definitely have some kind of buffer on top of that, not just having the minimum system requirements, right, in your system. You need to have more space available, definitely, but the minimum is like at least you need to have that much, right? That's what it is saying. And the next important thing, as I mentioned, database is a very like plays a very big role in respect to Sterling. So you need to ensure that the supported, like if you are using Oracle or MSSQL or DB2, you need to check the version, okay, and it basically whether it is compatible with that particular Sterling version or not. You need to ensure that. And when it comes to database version, definitely the JDBC drivers also you need. Like if it is DB2, you need to have specific DB2 drivers. If it is Oracle, you need to have specific Oracle JDBC drivers, right, for the connectivity part. So that's all on this one. Moving on, as I mentioned, right, there are three key database products that are supported: DB2, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server. So once, like what, like basically a Sterling administrator, right, or a person who is basically involved in Sterling Integrator installation has to work very closely with the database administrator and also the what you call infrastructure admin, right, who is responsible. If it is a Unix box, right, if it is a Windows box, okay, you need to work with those like Windows admin or Unix admin to ensure like the environment variables, the environment setup is proper, and also you need to provide the parameters, right, based on which database you want to go with. There are certain specific parameters or configuration that has to be set up before you start the installation. So you need to provide those lists for each of these particular server. okay, or database, you have links, okay, available in the Sterling integrated documentation itself, which will tell you, okay, if you're using DB2, you need to ensure these are the parameters and configuration that are set at the database level, right? So you need to give those details as a Sterling administrator to the database administrator, and once he is done with his configuration, you need to validate those along with him, right? I will give the links of the same, okay, in the description of the video, right? And then once the database is properly set up, you need to definitely get specific database information, right? The username, the password, the schema of the catalog name, host, port, and the driver from your database administrator, right? Because those are the inputs that you need to provide when you are installing the Sterling application. It will ask for those information, okay, it will prompt you for those information, and once you provide them, it will do a database connectivity check internally, and then will give you that, okay, the database connection is successful, now you can proceed with the installation. So unless and until you meet those minimum the requirements in respect to the parameter, and you have the proper credentials and everything, it won't even allow you to start the installation part. So that's very important, okay, keep in mind. Now when it comes to installation methods, right, there are two like ways of installing Sterling integrator, okay. So you need to have IIM installed, okay. First of all, it's called IBM installation manager. It's a file that comes along with the product media, right? When you download the product media from Passport Advantage or Fix Central, right, okay, you need to this IBM installation manager setup file will also come along with it. So you need to install that. It's a same, again, a Java based application, Eclipse application. So you need to install that, and then there are two ways, okay. One is the graphical user interface method, where you open that double click the jar file, okay, and then you need to select, okay, which is the folder, okay, where your media is available, and then you need to like, it will basically prompt you at different steps, okay, different inputs that you are providing, and then at the very end, once the database connectivity checks and everything are done, you can proceed with the application installation. That's the GUI mode, right? The other mode is like a silent file, using a silent file, okay, you can do the installation. What it does is that there is a fixed format of a text file given in the Sterling integrated documentation, like installation part, where it has all those parameters that you are getting as a prompt, right? It has all those parameters in, like, keyed in inside the text file. All you need to do is you need to edit the text file, you need to provide all those information within the text file against those parameters, and then you are basically saving it as an XML file, and then you are providing that file as an input to the IBM installation manager. So what it does is that instead of you getting those prompts using the GUI method, it will basically read all those information from that silent file, right? The response file, I mean to say, okay, and it will do the silent mode installation, where it will not even prompt you to do anything. It will just do the installation for you, as long as your information that you have provided within the file is correct, or else it will throw the error. You need to check the installation log and then research why it has failed and fix those and retry the installation, right? Now this is for today's session. I will continue with this, okay, and we'll talk more about the installation going forward in our next session, and then I'll move on to the Unix method, and then I'll slowly start actually talking about the implementation part using the application, right? Now, as I told, right, I am going to show you one of the installation that I have done like almost like a couple of years back. I did it on a VM image. It's a Windows 7 image, and what I have done is so I have accessed it through the VMware workstation. It's an image, and inside this Windows 7 box, if you see, I have logged in. So I have a, so what you do, right? Okay, you go to some drive, okay, you save your media, something like what I have done, like SI install, right? I have saved like with it's a Oracle database that I have used. So I have saved the like I have done the Oracle installation on my own, okay, and then I have the correct JDK files, right, that I need, and definitely the Sterling integrator, what you call the media. Okay, I've saved everything here, and then I have done the way I explained the installation. You need to do that installation, and then once it is installed, right, if you see over here on the desktop, you will see something like an icon created. If it is successful, everything goes good. Sterling integrator at 10,000. 10,000 is nothing but the base port, right, of the Sterling integrator. I have selected 10,000 as the base port, so it is showing at 10,000, right? And then I have selected another folder, right, SI52. Okay, that means this is a SI5.2 version. Okay, and then it creates something like install folder. Under the install folder, you see all the different configuration related folders are created. Okay, and then the most important is, if you see over here, bin directory, right? Inside the bin directory is where you have something called start. I'll tell you that. If you see over here, start Windows service, right? This is the script, right? Okay, when you issue it using the command line prompt, it basically starts your Sterling integrator application, right? And similarly, there is something called stop Windows service. Okay, that will basically stop Sterling integrator, right? If you see even here, these are all like the, when you install Sterling integrator, okay, it basically there are some services that gets created at the backend, which when you issue the start Windows service command, okay, it basically starts all those one by one, those services, right, in Windows. If I show you services here, so yeah, so right, here you go. So as I mentioned, I'll just enlarge this little more so that you are able to see. Yeah, here you go. So like IBM Sterling integrator, ActiveMQ, command line, event listener, no apps, ops server, web dev, right? Like these all are like sequentially started when you issue the start Windows service command. And if everything is successful, all the services are started properly, you should be able to access your Sterling integrator using the dashboard UI. Okay, so this is just a snippet what I wanted to show. We will show you, I'll show you how to issue the start command, stop command, and all those things, okay, in our next sessions. Hope this was helpful to all of you. Please share any feedback, any questions that you might have in the comment section, and I will try to respond them as and when time permits. Till then, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you, everyone.